Yes, welcome to part 4 of my Tandy 1400 LT video. And as you can see, it's not just inside that the autumn has taken its hold. So it's a bit Septendi outside too. For the battery, for the CMOS backup, we are going to use this. This is a barrel battery that's not rechargeable. It's a lithium-ion battery, and this one will last almost forever with the power charge that you have in this circuit. And we will have to protect this with a diode that stops the charging that was present when this was on NiCad battery inside this. I will protect this with some heat shrink tube so that we don't get any short circuit out of this. And then I just will connect the leads to the thin wires that we struck out on the back of the Tandy in the last session. So that is what we will do now. And we are going to use some heat shrink tube, and this one is too small. Yeah, I did find some other heat shrink tube. This one is slightly bigger and will fit, and I have this down that's much bigger and of course also will fit. But my original plan that was to put this diode on top like so and have this put inside like so, it won't fit with this one. So what I will do is I will combine these in a manner, and what is to be done is that this diode has to be connected just in series with the battery. So you have the barrel battery here with the plus terminal, and you have earth down here, the minus or GND or whatever you like. And this diode is just going to be coupled like so. Because if you apply now a voltage on this that's bigger than what you have here, this will prevent the power from flowing in that way. So here we have the voltage, and this is 3.6 volts, and this is the diode I have found here is 4001. And with the small charge that will trickle through this diode, the voltage drop will be approximately 0.5 volt or something. So the resulting voltage here will be 3 point something. And we had a 3.6 volt NiCad on this end, and the charging into this way will then be 3.6 to 3.8 volt or something. We have to have it a bit higher, I think, to have a current go that way. And I think that the circuit that was originally used on this would have been something along the line that you have. This one is going inside, and you have the battery here. And this will be the memory cell inside where you keep your CMOS memory. So this will be the short current, and here you have about 4.5 volt or something, and this will be the charging circuit. And this will be the circuit that actually drains this to the CMOS battery. And when the power drops here and stops, you will have the battery drain out like this. So this will be almost the same circuit, and it is actually a probability for us just to remove this entry into the system to get rid of this charging, but this is a much simpler solution. So here we just connect this to the red wire from last session, and this will be the black wire. Yeah, so that will be the task of today, and these diodes are marked so that the cathode on this one will be the ring on this one. And here I actually managed to take on the wrong lead. I was not thinking that this should be the positive lead, so I actually have to make a fix on that. And this battery is the one that's intended for soldering. That's why they have these soldering ears already in place. And now I'm going to do some trickery to get this color scheme right for the output on this. This one we won't be able to fit around here, and that's, yeah, maybe we do. We will actually give it a good squeeze and see. Because if we get this one to fit, it will be much better than we have to shrink the other one all the way down. And this is actually a bit stretchable, so yeah, I think we go for this one. Yes, like so. Not a beauty, but with good functionality. Yes, we're back in the shed with the Tandy, and we are going to do some small things with this today. This is the battery I made for the BIOS. And I actually made it so that it should be plug in for these leads that I took out on the back. I also made a floppy disk with DOS 3.3, and this should be a Tandy OEM version of DOS that I downloaded from the net. So we have to try that also. And after that I'm going to assemble the machine and get it back together, and I also need to do some small pieces of cleaning here before we put it all together. This will be very hard to reach after we put the lid on. And this was the lead that we put out in the back for this machine. I tried to spin them a bit like so that they should not get tangled up in anything, but we will have to see. This lead will contain a steady DC source, and I don't think it will pick up much noise anyway. So we are just going to solder this, and what color we use for what is not very important. I'm going to put some shrink wrap over this anyway. And then we are just going to connect this color to color. and we should have a good connection. So that was the CMOS battery. We are going to test to boot this machine one final time with the right version of those. And this reminds me that we have not done anything yet about the floppy drives that need a helping hand to get the disks out. Yeah, I definitely have to take this out and oil the mechanism. We just connect this to the IBM power supply and we should be good to go when we turn this on. Now we run into the same problem as we did last time with the light. It's almost impossible to see when the overhead lights are on. So I'm going to turn them off. Yeah, and then we can see just the screen. And we have to live with that. And this is DOS version 3.3. Yes, and we was in. Yeah, and this is a special version of DOS. I have some things that I don't know what is. We have this FMAT 2000. Yeah, and there are some other files on here that's special to the Tandy line of computers, but I don't think any of these utilities are specific for this model. There should be some commands to set the date and stuff, but they are not on this generic Tandy disk. So I will try now to take out one of the floppy drives and see if I can do some basic floppy maintenance on at least one of the drives. So I just turn this off and dismount the bracket here for the drives again. I have changed the color temperature of the lighting here in my shed. I used to have two LED bars with 3000 Kelvin. Now I have two with 4000 Kelvin, or at least I have three with 4000 Kelvin. And I have one that's almost blue, maybe about 6000 Kelvin mixed in. So hopefully the picture will be less yellow than in the last video. And now I can see three of the screws for the floppy drive. And the drive I am now trying to take out is the A drive. I do think they have the exact same problem, both of them. So I will do the other two, but that depends really on what is wrong. Is there anything else that fixes this drive in place? I'm not sure. But I've gotten surprises before on this Tandy. So I will remove this and I just try to remove this like so. Yeah, I just push this in the back and concentrate on the floppy drive. I've never seen this exact mechanism before, so I do have to be careful when I take it up. I can see there are some small screws here on top, and they did not fit the screwdriver. Neither this one, so I do have to get and collect some other tools. I'm back with my iFixit tool. I do have several kits with the appropriate bits, but I do think that the fix-it kits are quite good. I have had some broken bits, not with this kit, but with my last iFixit kit. Yeah, and this fitted really good, so I will use that. I'm not sure if this actually was a valid screw for the cover, but that we have to see when we actually remove the cover. And this cover is fitted like so. No, these screws was actually holding down something else. We have one insulation pad, and we are in on the wrong side because this is the PCB side. And here you have some stepper motor connections, and you have one other connection here. This is probably not so difficult to lift out, but we have to consider that this is over 30 years old, so what might have been appropriate and easy back in the day might break it now. Okay, that seems to be okay. Yes, and this one actually has the connections this way. The plastic is on top, and this one has the connection this way. But on these things, I, as you know, just took one drive, and that means I do have a spare if anything goes wrong. I didn't bring with me my bad diskette that I can use for testing this. So this part looks okay, and when I push this, the disc should fly out. So something here should be pushing the disc this way, and that's this lever here that does the pushing. And when I push here, it should free this mechanism over here, or okay, there it was. Oh, that's not good. I might scratch the head. So the mechanism is not running as it should, and there has to be some oiling to do. And also the stepper motor here, this grease actually don't look too bad. This mechanism is not going very smooth, so I might have to lubricate that one. I will disconnect this too. Yeah, then I free the whole PCB from the mechanism. And here is the connectors for the head and drive mechanism. And this is where we have to do the lubrication. This is not running very smoothly, and it has quite a strong spring here, so this should not be holding much back. I do hesitate to take off that mechanism to get underneath this. So, is it possible to loosen this without taking that off? Yeah, I just removed the plastic here to see what's behind door number 3. Yeah, it actually is a Citizen drive. Not a big wonder, as the computer itself was made by Citizen. Is it possible to get some lubrication down here without actually dismantling this? And this mechanism has a spindle that's down in this hole. When grease like this is getting old and stiff, it's often not just dust or other things that's inside the grease that does this. And this drive actually looks quite clean. So I think I will just try with some isopropanol alcohol just to loosen up and wash away some of the harshness in the grease, and I think that will be quite enough to loosen this mechanism and make it work for several years. So I give this a good bat both in front and back and lay it down for a while and test with a floppy to see if it works. Yeah, so now we are just exercising the mechanism a bit with a floppy, but as you can see it now works every time. So I think we can call this a success. I'm going to leave this to dry and see if it stops working when the isopropanol dries out, because it's quite impossible for me to get some other lubricant down here. So I only massaged in this isopropanol to get rid of old grease and maybe redo some grease that was there from before. The mechanism itself is direct drive, so there is no belt and stuff in here that can go wrong. This is quite clever. You see here they have glued in this magnet that runs through this hull sensor, and this hull sensor is a magnetic sensor, so it detects when this is turning by, and this doesn't count anything else than rotations, so it will know how fast this rotates, and you can make some regulations about that. And this is for, you can see here, for the write protect. You have this electrical mechanism here for write protect with this micro switch, and in some drives this is mechanical, and otherwise the drive was working, so we are not going to bother with anything else. If this still works when the isopropanol dries, we are going to put it back together. Yes. So, what do we do to put this together? We do have to reconnect the plugs that we took out. They actually have a switch here for drive select instead of jumpers and just soldering points. So this is set to 0. Like so. They have this hole here that should make it quite easy to stick them back in, but you still need to align them. Yes, this one went quite easy. They have this hole, and I'm just using this small Torx bit that's quite round. Yes, like so. Here we actually can put these screws back together at once, because they was not keeping the lid on. They was only there for keeping the PCB, as far as I can tell. I will take out the other floppy drive now and do the same with that one, and I think that will be off-camera speed fast forward job. Yes, then the floppies were mounted back in, and I have taken this modem card is taken out of the machine. I will be putting it back together, but I will find a way to mount it after I've put the machine. So I will leave this out for now, and I will put this bracket back in, And I do have the battery out in the back. I do have the power lead here, and I do have the floppy loosened somewhat here in the back. So I will be able to slot this in. Like so. And I will also be able to put these other leads. This is for the expansion bus, like so, and this is for the memory card bus, and this is for the modem bus, like so, and this power leads, like so. And then I have to put these connectors back in. I think they was maybe mounted like that. Yes, they was like so. The first one and the second one, like so. And I do have one more lead to connect here. This one from the power supply should go down here, and this should fit like so. And we do have this that came loose now with these connectors, and this was fastened in like so. Yeah, I do have to find some new double-sided tape to fit this in. Just like so. This is where the keyboard should go, and then this bracket will fit like so. That was the keyboard, and we have the power supply, and this one has its own problems like so. It also should be fitted through this screw hole, so this tape is only to keep it temporarily in place to be able to slot beneath this screw. And we have this bracket down here that should be fitted with 2 small screws. Yeah, I just take a quick peek around the back here so that I see that everything is okay. This one it will be okay until I put some expansion card in here. And the modem card I have to make fit afterwards. And this lead is okay. It's for the battery connector. And this lead should not go into some space here. I will fit this like so, and this will be like so. Yeah, then I think most of this will be ready to be put back together. I did remove some extra screws that was really not necessary to remove. I do have all these screws with the arrows pointed to them, but I also did remove some more screws that was not strictly necessary. And these are the screws for the screw holes. That was the necessary removal point. Like so, and the power supply screws are these ones. They're a bit longer, but also 3mm threads. Then we should be done from the underside. We can also take this modem, this fixture here with these plastic plungers, and this should be fitted like so. These threaded in like so, and then these plastic plungers should be put in from the bottom like so. I can give them a bit of extra push like so, and then this fits back together, and we can take this in also, but let's do that afterwards. Now this is good and strong, and everything else inside here is fitted, but we do have these springs, and these springs was actually attached to these levers on this one, that you had to put this back to actually make some progress. So that will be necessary thing to deal with. We also have to rub off some dirt, as I said on this one. You have some really nasty stuff in here, so I will go and get some paper and some Kleenex, and we can see what we can do here. I lost the springy thing inside. Old school pliers. Oops, there's the spring. Let's hope there are no more surprises like these ones. Yes, like so. And like so. And I turn this around and I put in the marked screws. This is the modem, and hopefully we will get it to slide in like so, and then it's these small screws. Yeah, then everything here is connected, and we can give this a test again before we do anything more. And the date that is suggested here is the 13 on the 7th on 2031, so the clock was not stored last time, so we have to run this utility from Tandy, and it's the 9th month, and it's the 28th 2021, and the time is 19:20. And there we are into those. Yeah, now you can see the floppy is working perfectly. It's ejecting the disk on these two. So I will give this a quick test now with the NiCad battery to test that this part is also working. And we will use the NiCad battery from the drill where we soldered on the lead. Yes, there it's switched in. You can try to start it without the power connected. Yes, and it starts rather nice. But the low battery light is actually blinking. I don't think I charged its battery very well after the test we did to measure the capacity of this battery. So I will keep this in and see if it's charging. Now when I put on the power, the low battery light did not light up. I wonder if I try to measure the voltage on this battery, I can see if it's charging or not. It's actually measuring 9.6 volt. I wonder if it's still draining the battery even though it's plugged in. I will leave this plugged in for a while and see if the voltage is rising. I will turn this off and see if the battery takes charge. Just see if there is anything wrong with the power connection. No, it's 16.7 volts. So what we got in there is correct. We will just leave that plugged in for an hour and we will come back and see if this has taken charge or not. Yes, let's see how much this has charged. Oh, no, it's fully charged. And let's see what this one is saying when we try to boot it. There is no light in the low bat light. The standby light, the power light is working. Yes, so now the machine boots fine and it's running on battery and only on batteries. And let's see how much. It's not pulling much power, this one. So this will probably last for about 4 hours. So that's it for our experience with this Tandy computer. We will end this video here. This computer is, as far as I'm concerned, in perfectly working condition. I'm not going to modify anything with this battery and stuff in this machine. I will try sometime in the future to see if the external video output and the keyboard is working, but I need a XT kind of keyboard and I need a CGA monitor and a monochrome monitor to test this. And I don't have anyone available, but I will do some maintenance of some of the units I have in storage, so I can test that kind of things later on. Please hit subscribe if you want to be notified when we post new videos. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.